the standpoint of a servant and not a master. You have to serve a community without any authority over it. You can't pull rank, you don't have law, you don't have police behind you. It has to be through persuasion, education, creating interest, motivating, capturing their imagination. Service leadership is always an instrument for good. Service is never intended to harm. There may be some unintended consequences of the good things that we try to do. Therefore, we need to have a way of measuring, seeing them, and correcting those deviations that take place. But so, if you want to be a gift to the world, you have to constantly also monitor that what you, your associates, your clubs, your juniors, and your partners are doing is eventually contributing good to the community. And we may have some pet themes in mind. For example, now polio was a fantastic thing that Rotary did over the last 10 to 15 years. I know this particularly because my wife worked for UNICEF India for 20 years. She was the first MBA that they recruited. She had earlier been with GlaxoSmithKline. So she brought her social communication marketing skills into the UNICEF polio campaign. And she has been with a number of Rotary clubs and conferences in North India when this was done. And this elimination of polio is a great celebration. Now we have to move on. What is the next disease, next orphan area that needs attention? So dynamically relevant services. So there has to be some kind of a planning process within which monitors the environment, environmental changes, the volatility, the disruption, the new needs which are emerging, and therefore pick those services. Also, service leadership is not the kind where we can say, we have this service, come and take it. So the community is there. If you tell them that our dialysis center is here, you come. No, you'll have to bring them there. You have to motivate them. So your service has to be delivered, not just offered, not just made available or communicated. And finally, the attitude that service is its own reward. Nishkama karma, without expectation of reward, and it will come in a huge measure. For example, that little baby today, the governor holding that baby, that one little surgery has given so much. This will be all over in the Goa papers and TV tomorrow. There I think we have to take Mario Cesar's point seriously. That is that while you may do good work and you may not seek publicity, for the cost some amount of external communication strategy may be needed. This is something that you will of course think and deliberate. That's a separate issue. Image is, the organizational image is a product of two things: good work, but also good communication. Some projection is needed. Now you can look at 4 cells of a matrix. There are some people who are adept at projecting without doing nothing. That will be discovered and exposed in good time. But you are in a position of doing a lot of good things which is not projected. So it's perfectly all right. It is not, in the modern world, there is so much noise that you have to get a share of that voice by projecting the good work that you are doing. And it may attract more resource support. The servant leadership is a dramatic illustration here. It is a leader who will be up there, but will not neglect his follower, will give him a hand to come up on that hill. So the other option is that the chap will fall down below into the precipice. So take your people with you. So there are these 6 dimensions of service leadership model. Some of you at the back may not be able to read all the text. It starts with valuing people on the top right. First, you have to not criticize, condemn. People do not come ready-made. They don't come perfectly with all the knowledge and skills that we want them, not even in corporate employment with very high campus recruitment pay packets. The product is initially raw. A leader has to work on it, develop those people, not in his own image, not as clones, but as people who are good for the task, good for the project, good for the service delivery for the target audience. Build a sense of community amongst them, the team, because one of the dangers in any activity is rivalry, ego, share of the limelight. Even in religious organizations where there are Swamijis, priests, there is a potential politics, wherever there are human beings. So I think building a sense of community through total selflessness, mutual appreciation. You may remember that Hindi film, Chak De India, where in the last scene, these two girls who had such a serious conflict hug each other. That's the kind of sense we need to develop. Display authenticity at all times, that is achievements, failures, shortfalls, what has gone wrong, some feedback and criticism from even a beneficiary or from some other regulatory organization, we accept it, take it on board, not to be defensive, and provide leadership, of course. The first attempt is to create self-leadership, initiative in people, but on top of that, provide leadership of a higher order. What they cannot do, the leader comes in. One of the leaders calls himself a servant leader, another calls himself a cleaner leader, janitor, because people do 90% of the things right, they drop a few things here and there. I take a broom, sweep them, don't blame them, and I do what they have left behind incomplete. And finally, one of the dangers in very successful leadership is to hog the limelight and be a bit distant superstar. It is necessary also to share the leadership in the team as a way of developing future leaders in the organization. I think the Indian Rotary community is growing very fast at this stage of development, youth, and therefore it will need a pipeline of potential leaders of the committees as well as the clubs and districts. So we've talked about leadership, the 4 dimensions of cash, service leadership, and now let's look at what is special about transformational leadership. It has to bring about fundamental sustainable change. Very often you hear in non-profit voluntary organizations that when so-and-so was in charge, it was very good. Since he left, things are not so good. So you hear a story of a golden age attached to a particular person and then decline, erosion thereafter. I think that has to be prevented, avoided. So can it be person independent? This is what IT companies like Infosys, TCS talk about, that a large software delivery company cannot depend upon the artistry and special innovative or improvising skills of a few individuals. It has to be reliable. The first requirement in transformational leadership, before transforming the community, before transforming the juniors, the leader has to demonstrate a role model of self-transformation, personal transformation of the leader. So some sense of daily introspection, review, because in the Indian culture, most people will not speak up. They'll very indirectly put it, and they'll always begin by saying, sir, everything is okay, sir, perfect, sir, going very well. So you'll have to really look for feedback. We have difficulty even receiving feedback which is given, but we have to accept feedback and even more invite feedback, and the ultimate stage is the ability to perceive feedback which will not be given, which need not be asked for, but you know from the body language that this feedback is there in the service target community or one of your colleagues or partners. So after self-transformation comes the leader helping the transformation of the team, each member. They will come at different paces. Some will change faster, some will be more naturally attuned because of their family, school, earlier work background. Some will be harder nuts to crack, very strong on knowledge and technical skills, not so strong on people skills. So different people will need different kind of transformational medicine from the leader. And finally, transformation of the beneficiaries. I think ultimately social change in health, education, and so on, it is seen that it is not the equipment, it is not the technology ultimately. What stays is the culture of change, the experience, the success experience of one change, and that community is now capable of making more change. And this has happened in the self-help movement, women's thrift groups in India and Bangladesh, the local health movements, the maternity delivery, the Asha nurse movement, and so on. And finally, we have to look at all of this adding up from those 8 clubs in Karnataka, 6, 7 in Andhra Pradesh, the Rotary District 3190, adding up to a major transformation, not just in terms of numbers and money. Can 3190 or any other district become one of the role models for Rotary International to look at, other countries to come and become a kind of a case study like the Bombay Dabbawala's lunch service has become a Harvard case study in Six Sigma. Okay. Oops. I've gone too far. Right, okay. So here is the transformational leadership model. Just we can't go into all of the elements of this model in detail. Strategy to action. I think strategy is easier to formulate. It is hard enough, but relatively easier. The global gap is in execution, much more than in strategy formulation. Building some strategic relationships. For example, the relationship you now with Goa governor and government, the service that you're providing from Bangalore. This is a very interesting strategic relationship. Or with the Gates Foundation, where they have now agreed to a 1:2 matching grant. So many such partnerships, leveraging the emotional intelligence of people. The transformational leader assumes enough intellect and knowledge in people already, otherwise they won't be in that job. But it is the emotional intelligence that needs to be harnessed. Leadership through continuous change, and that Jack Welch quote that Mario gave is a very important one, that if the rate of change inside the organization is less than the rate of change outside, the organization is doomed. One should keep in mind, so rather than be reacting to change, the transformational leader is autonomously, proactively creating change which others have to cope with, change which is good for the organization. So right now, a lot of such movements are taking place. For example, in the area of technology, the initiative that Elon Musk is taking in the electric car, in solar energy, in space travel, burning a lot of his money on these risky ventures. And I think the automobile industry is now turning to computer software, driverless cars. So it is a proactive change entirely from outside one of the world's most capital-intensive industries. And that industry is having to respond to this change from outside. And finally, continuously developing employee capability, that the best capital, the most valuable capital is human capital, not physical or financial capital. And if that human capital is right, the rest will come. Galbraith, when he was an ambassador to India, made this very good statement, which I've heard repeated many times, it's still valid, that India is a rich country with poor people, whereas Japan is a poor country with rich people. That's how you mobilize and use resources. Okay, let me conclude with an action plan. I'm talking as if I were talking to a normal, large business or a UN type of organization, that you already have many ideas, many programs, but from a transformational perspective, using some of these ideas in this presentation and others that are relevant to go with it, if each club in the district were invited to prepare a local transformation plan, and the contents will differ from club to club, their territory, the people, the income level, the various need requirements there in that area, and what kind of transformation can they attempt during the year 2016. And somewhere in March, provide them an opportunity in clusters of 3 or 4 clubs, whatever is an appropriate critical mass size, where they simply share their plans, and the other clubs may in a friendly way critique. No one is criticizing. Each club gets critiqued, therefore it is perfectly symmetrical, and just by listening they may learn. So transfer good practices from one plan to another. They all take home some new ideas, and somewhere in mid-year in July, have 2 state-level conferences, one in Bangalore and the other in Andhra Pradesh clubs, or whatever mix is appropriate administratively. And a mid-year sharing, now it is no longer about planning, which was done in January, February. It's about the progress on the transformation plan, what has gone right, what can we learn from it, what has not gone so right. In the second half of the year, what can we do better? And there are areas where I think the way the president's enthusiasm is going and the inspiration is going, you may do much better than even the original plan. He was talking about targets of 150 going to 200. So mid-year you may review the progress and revise for the second half year. And in 2017, apart from your annual district conference or as an extension of it or a separate day, you have a day where you look at achievements and lessons of this transformational action plan exercise in 2016, and then that becomes a cycle repeated year after year until it is embedded into the system. So these are some thoughts that I thought I would offer. I hope these are of interest to you. You're doing a great job. I think Rotary needs to be known more. Every time I attend a Rotary conference, I learn more about it, which I don't get to see in the papers or in the media. So some degree of public sharing may be very useful. God bless you. All power to you. Thank you.
Padma Bhushan, Dr. Mrityunjay Atreya sir. A really great gift to we all Indians. Really touching presentation, especially at Rotary, how we can correlate the management to Rotary and take it forward. We really learned a lot, especially we are used to only the cash, EASH cash. Today you taught us about KASH cash. Very interesting one. Definitely going to adapt and take it forward. 3190 as a model district, you recommended. No doubt we are having some model clubs in our district. Same way, just planning to take 3190 as a model district in the world, Rotary world. I am very happy to announce here, looking at our growth, our membership, the way in which we are progressing, IISc want to do a study on 3190 this year membership development, how we are taken up and how we are progressing, how we are going to achieve it. Thanks to Director Srinivas Murthy is in touch and they want to take up this study. Change as per the change. Another great message sir has given. Unless we change ourselves as per the change what's happening outside, it is very difficult to survive and definitely no progress. Thank you very much, sir. We are really blessed with your presence here and all your presentation. Friends, please give a big round of applause once again for a great presentation by Dr. Atreya sir. Yeah, now we would like to do pleasantries, please. Yeah, I was expecting that. Most of the day, President going to ask for the presentation. If you don't mind, can you please share that presentation? Of course, I have no intellectual property. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Please come. Please come to do the honor. Friends, it's time to recognize outperforming teams of this conference. To start with this Aptamitra registration, one of the dream what we have felt in the beginning when we given this offer, around 769 Rotarians have volunteered themselves to be Aptamitra for this conference. Please give a big round of applause and appreciate that.
Good afternoon, friends. Now I request the Aptamitra Committee Chairman, Rotarian Sunil Kumar, Co-Chairman, Rotarian Manjunath K, Rotarian Nikhil Oja, Rotarian Naveen CB, and Rotarian Deepak CB. I also request the Registration Committee Chairman, Rotarian Srinath Gupta, to join, please. Yeah, let them come. Co-Chairman, Rotarian Rajeshwari, Rotarian Lakshmi Srinath, Rotarian Shashi Oja, Rotarian Usha Dogre. Please give them a big round of applause, please. I think without the registrations, this conference wouldn't have happened. Please give them a big round of applause. Thank you, Sunil. Thank you, Srinath.
Come back for a photograph. Please go back. Thank you, sir. Go back for a photograph. Go back. Vedu. Sir, photograph. ಹಾಗಿದ್ರೆ ಕೂರ್ಚೋ.
I also would like to recognize the club with highest registration. First place goes to, again, a go-getter president, my Aptamitra, Gopal Reddy from Kolar with 39 Aptamitra registration. Please give a big round of applause to Gopal Reddy. Please come and receive a memento from conference chairman. And also second highest, Rotary Bangalore South with 29 Aptamitra registration. Please receive the thing from. Come, Gopal Reddy, please come. South, anybody from South? Yeah, President himself is there. JP sir is coming. Now I request session, okay. Lucky, please come. Get it picked up from RIRAP. Yeah, quickly. Now let's see who is lucky for the session now. Our RIRAP will going to pick up one lucky winner. They're going to get some good go-on gifts. Who is the lucky winner? Hey, this is too much. Can we give this? Ratnadar. Okay, our chief guest says yes, he deserves it. Let us give it.
Match fixing, not allowed.
Now, thank you. We're going to draw such a lot of them throughout the session for today, tomorrow. Please be there, relax and enjoy. Now, I request Conference Secretary Kulkarni, Shankar Kulkarni to propose vote of thanks.
Good afternoon, friends. Good afternoon, friends. Yes. Friends, it's my proud privilege to be here to propose a vote of thanks on behalf of District 319 Sagar Station. And we wish to thank Padma Bhushan, Dr. Prutindya Acharya for being here with us this evening. Nothing needless to say, how was the presentation? It all said it. He got a standing ovation, that itself is a great thing. Once more, can you give a big round of applause for this great presentation, please? We thank RI President Mario Cesar for coming all over here, all the way from South America, despite several challenges he had while traveling. Right, sir? Thanks to our HKV Reddy sir for remembering the departed souls, and Dr. Upendra for being with us here, and B.V. Rai, a dynamic leader in the community service. Thank you very much for doing a wonderful job. And hopefully he has 6 more months to go. He will do much more than that, what he has done. And Rotarian Fazal, District Secretary, thank you very much. And how was the lunch today? Did you all enjoy? Credit goes to Southwest Club team led by Anup Agarwal. And many more to come, so many more surprise menus coming up this evening and maybe tomorrow also for lunch and dinner. Stay back and enjoy the next session. Thank you very much.
Can I have Sudhakar Madhyastha here from the stage and venue arrangements? Sudhakar, we need to shift this, the back. Can you come? Thank you. And we have a dance now. Can we get the dancers on stage, please? Come.